Greetings, golf pickers. It's Steve Bamford here from Golf Betting System, and welcome to this week's golf betting show. I take it that you are well. Two tournaments this week, both on the PGA Tour. I get confused myself, but we have, it's a duel, isn't it? It's a World Golf Championship event, effectively. The HSBC Champions. Some have called it Asia's Major Championship. A decent field has arrived at Shishan International Golf Club in Shanghai, which is the traditional home of the HSBC Champions event. Over on the PGA Tour, we have a secondary, I call them secondary level, basically a PGA Tour event that runs concurrently with a WGC or a major. So think Puerto Rico Open, think Barbasol Championship, think Barracuda Championship. Well, we've got one of those this week as well. Down at the Country Club of Jackson in Madison, Mississippi, we have the Sanderson Farms Championship, which used to be played, many of you will know. Again, it's always been one of these secondary level events, although it did slip into the full series for a couple of seasons. But effectively, it used to be played at Annandale, so it's now moved to the Country Club of Jackson, where the tournament was hosted there last year. Naturally, though, the HSBC Champions event, of course, takes precedent this week in what is a decent enough field. You can't say it's as good as the other WGCs because you'd be lying. 4 of the top 10 don't play this week. People do tend to actually not bother with this event. But this week we've got McIlroy, Spieth, Bubba Watson, Dustin Johnson, Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, Henrik Stenson, Hideki Matsuyama. It's incredible to see Kevin Na as a 22 or 20 to 1 shot with some bookmakers for a WGC event. Justin Thomas, Paul Casey, Brandon Grace. It's a strong field, as you would anticipate, for what effectively is the last of the WGCs of 2015. Okay, let's go to this week's predictor model, of course, and I haven't said here at the start of the show, like I usually say, in terms of subscribing, don't forget, of course, to press the subscribe button below the video. You will be most welcome and won't miss any of our golf betting shows moving forward. Top 10 of the predictor model, of course, golf betting tips. Into Google, you will come across us, Golf Betting System in there. You'll come across the website. Loads of free statistics. Of course, Paul Williams looks after the European Tour and the WGC event, so he's pulled together the preview this week for the HSBC Champions. I look after the PGA Tour. In terms of the actual predictor models, you can come up with your own tailor-made models using the variables that you think are important for this week's tournament, of course, at golfbettingsystem.co.uk, free of charge. Top 10 of this week's predictor model, I will highlight to you as well. It's interesting that on the WGC this week, no bookmakers have gone 6 places each way. Potentially a little bit naughty. Now, let's take you through the top 10. 10 is Justin Thomas, 33 to 1. All of these prices are with Bet365. 9 is Paul Casey, 35 to 1. 8, Ricky Fowler, 16 to 1. 7, Hideki Matsuyama, 22 to 1. 6, Sergio Garcia, 33s. Top 5, Adam Scott is 22 to 1. 4 is Henrik Stenson, 16 to 1. 3, Dustin Johnson, 22 to 1. 2 is Rory McIlroy. McIlroy now available at 6 to 1 with Ladbrokes, Bet365, 11 to 2. And finally in there, Bubba Watson, 18 to 1. So that's Bubba Watson, McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Henrik Stenson and Adam Scott. They make up the top 5 of this week's predictor model. On to Paul's tips. Paul thinks it's interesting. Jason Day, Justin Rose, Jim Furyk and Zach Johnson not playing this week. 4 of the top 10. 7,261 yard par 72. It's a Neil Howarth design. It's always played for many years quite easy. Winning totals. Let me just run them off here as part of Paul's preview. He always highlights winning totals. So Bubba Watson was a 28-1 shot last year. He shot 11 under, so quite a tough golf course last year. And that was the change. Dustin Johnson in 2013 was a 40-1 shot, and he shot 24 under. So that's a 13 shot difference in winning score, which is pretty crazy. Keimer in 2011 shot 20 under around here. Francesco Molinari 19 and Phil Mickelson 17. All of a sudden last year, fairways had been thinned, grass or rough was up. A lot of the grass or the rough around the green complexes had Bermuda grass thrown into the mix, making it gnarly, very gnarly, and scrambling a lot more difficult. It's an interesting test. So how it's going to set up this year is, of course, open to debate. A jump from 20 under, 24 under to 11 under last year would suggest that the course is likely again to play more technical. And if the powers that be over in the Far East think that this is a major championship, they don't really want 24, 25 under winning the golf tournament if they can at all help it. Rain is forecast during the tournament this week, so it could make greens a lot more receptive, less roll on fairways. But it's totally up in the air in terms of course conditions, and you won't be able to get anything out of the European Tour website giving you detail around exactly what course conditions are like. However, these numbers here are quite telling. Greens in regulation for the last set of 5 winners. 18th for Watson, 1st for Dustin Johnson, Keimer was 10th. Francesco Molinari let the side down with 23rd, and in 2009 even Phil Mickelson managed 20th in terms of greens in regulation. It really does come down to finding lots and lots of greens this week. Okay, let me take you through Paul's top 3 this week. He's going Bubba Watson, 2 points each way, 18-1 with Bet365 for the defending champion. Watson playing great golf at the moment. He's got recent form of 3rd at the Barclays, 29th at Boston, a track he never gets on with. 10th at the BMW Championship, which was, of course, played at Conway Farms. And 5th at Eastlake, a course he always struggles with because he doesn't like playing out the Zozoya grass rough there, where you get a lot of flyers, he says. But Bubba Watson, 2 points each way, 18-1. His greens in regulation numbers are very strong right now. You just get the feeling with Bubba, he does tend to go to courses that he likes, and he can put together. If you look at his results at the Travellers Championship over the years at River Highlands, he can go back, and he can go back again and again once he gets his head around the golf course and contend. There's no doubt that Watson, who was playing some of the golf of his life towards the end of the summer this year, but kept getting pipped by Jason Day, would really like to end the year on a high, and he really does like playing well out in China. He said that after his win last year, that a win out there was one of his major career goals achieved, to win outside of the United States. So Bubba Watson, 2 points each way, 18-1 with Bet365. But Paul is also going for a player, another WGC winner from time gone by. He's going for Patrick Reed, 2 points each way at 40-1 with Bet Victor. Now Reed, got to say, his ball striking of late has been a revelation. He's actually changed his golf clubs, changed his driver, and changed his 3-wood. And he's saying, and I quote, I feel like I'm hitting the ball great. I spent a lot of time at home working with a different driver, and now I'm hitting the ball straighter with the tee shot. So now we'll play on the short grass. I'm setting up more square and able to naturally use the golf club, and it makes a huge difference. And that's true, because you can see his statistics, and you started to see this before Eastlake. You can see that his driver is far straighter now. He's hitting far more fairways. Now, Patrick Reed, up until this point, has been known as a very wayward driver over the last 12 to 15 months. Now, if he's going to be finding more fairways, which in turn means more greens, that makes him a very dangerous character, because as we know, his short game is traditionally razor sharp, and his putting has been excellent. His putting of late on bent or bent power surfaces recently has also been very good. Sub 1.7 putts per GIR figures coming at TPC Boston, Akron, which is another WGC event, the Old White TPC, Muirfield Village, and also Colonial. So he doesn't mind putting particularly well on bent grass or bent Poa mixed greens. Now, all of his wins to date have been on Bermuda grass, but don't let you put that off Patrick Reed. Paul thinks 40 to 1 is a big value price for a guy that will want to end 2015, which for him has been very disappointing after a strong start at Kapalua. Finish with a very strong end to the year. So Patrick Reed, 2 points each way at 40 to 1 with Bet Victor. Finally, Paul Williams is going for a 100 to 1 shot, a point each way, and this is a very interesting angle. Hiroshi Iwata, who's now a player on the PGA Tour, came from nowhere last year and grabbed the top 5. It is possible for Asian or Japan Tour players to come to China and play extremely well, especially, of course, if they've been tearing up trees on their own tour. Now, Paul's going for Kung Tae Kim, of course, KT Kim, who used to be a world top 30 player, slumped down, but this year he's been absolutely fantastic. He's going KT Kim, a point each way, 100 to 1 with Ladbrokes. And it's fantastic what he's done out on the Japan Tour. 5 wins since June has put the South Korean star on the brink of the top 50 in the OWGR. So if you're looking for a player outside of the PGA Tour, outside of the European Tour, who's overpriced for playing extremely good golf, and of course, Kim was a member of the higher echelons of the official World Golf Rankings a few years back. He can mix it. He's got a best of a 6th in the WGC event a few years ago. So that was at the Bridgestone Invitation. He actually finished alongside Rory McIlroy and Zach Johnson. So in form, he's not scared of these guys. He's a cracking player, the South Korean. So KT Kim, I'm going to try it again. Kung Tae Kim, a point each way, 100 to 1 with Ladbrokes. Bubba Watson, 2 points each way, 80 to 1 with Bet365. And Patrick Reed, 2 points each way, 40 to 1 with Bet Victor. That's the WGC HSBC Champions event at Shashan International. Okay, quickly, let's head across to Mississippi, the Deep South. Interesting golf course. I think it's going to play a lot longer, a lot softer this year. The course has had severe rain over the last 8-9 days, so it's likely to be a different beast this year for me, where I think power's going to be helpful. I think those guys that can get the ball out there is going to be a real help this week on fairways that aren't likely to roll, and also green complexes that are bound to be a lot more receptive than they were last year. Top 10 of the predictor model: 10 Scott Stallings, 60 to 1 with Betfred. 9 is Patton Kazire, 20 to 1 with Bet Victor. 8 Tommy Gainey, 250 to 1 with Stan James. 7 Sean Stefani, 70 to 1 with Bet365. 6 is Brendan Todd, 33 to 1 with Coral. 5 Jonathan Bird, 100 to 1 with Sky Bet. Let me again point out with Sky Bet, if you open up an account via golf betting system, you will get a very, very rare and very exclusive £50 free or €50 free bet, matched free bet, okay? That's a rarity out there, a £50 or €50 matched free bet if you open up a golf betting account or a betting account with Sky Bet via golf betting system. So Jonathan Bird, 100 to 1 with Sky Bet at 5. 4 is Boo Weekly, who finished runner-up here last year, 55 to 1 with Betfred. 3 is Carl Petterson, 66 to 1 with Stan James. 2, Graham Dillette, 40 to 1, or Graham Delay, 40 to 1 with Bet Victor. And number 1, Jason Bone, when he opened up with Bet365, always first to market with prices, yesterday afternoon, I had to send a tweet out there. 9 to 1, Jason Bone. I've never seen anything like it. These are golf betting times that I've never seen. But Bone is top statistically by quite a long margin, 12 to 1 with 888 Sports. So that's Bone, who was runner-up here last year. Graham Delay, Cole Petterson, Boo Weekly, and Jonathan Bird. Don't forget, of course, golf betting system for the full tips. Let me take you, though, for a quick run through of who I'm tipping up this week before we close the programme. I'm going with Graham Dillette, 2 points each way, 40 to 1. Lucas Glover, 1 1/4 points each way, 50 to 1 with Ladbrokes. Scott Stallings, 1 point each way, 66 to 1 with Bet365. Johnson Wagner, 3/4 of a point, 100 to 1 with Ladbrokes, and Patrick Rogers, 2 points to win, 16 to 1 with Betfred. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.